How's it going, everybody? My name is John and we are back with another video, and today we're going to be ranking every Nas and DJ Premier song from worst to best. And while doing the research for this video, I found some songs that I had never heard before, and then some of these are amongst the greatest hip-hop songs of all time. So without further ado, let's get into it with the first one, which is Regeneration. I'm only going to write Regen because I'm not going to have enough room with my big ass writing, but Regeneration is a little 2-minute song, and it's not bad. The Primo beat is a little bit repetitive, if anything. That's the only real problem with it. Nas is pretty good on the first half, drops a solid verse, good bars as usual for Nas. But what really drags the song down to number 14 for me is Apathy, the other person on the song, and I believe it is his song. And he just sounds like the most generic fucking rapper that you would hear. Has a line about his lungs being full of smoke from weed. Has other lines where he says like his flow is atomic like an atom bomb, and just other generic rap shit. Not for me. Definitely not for me on that front. So that's why it's at number 14. Moving on pretty quickly because we do have a lot to go through with it, so get the shitty ones out of the way. We have Hip Hop. And I say shitty ones. None of these songs are shitty. Let me just make that perfectly clear. Yeah, damn. Board might have slipped a little bit. Make sure you guys can see that. Number 13, we have Hip Hop. This is a DJ Khaled song, and that's what drags it down for me. Now, let me ask you guys a question. Maybe somebody can bring some light to this. Since when did DJ Khaled start saying his fucking name at the beginning and the end of the songs, and then start monologuing a little bit and saying other shit? I used to just remember it being, we the best, are we the best music, DJ Khaled, and that would be it. But now this dude talks about his fucking life story and shit on the track, but him being at the beginning and the end drags it down for me. Otherwise, it's Nas and Scarface. And I will mention something else about this track too really quick before I move on to number 12, is that in regards to the beat, there's a Justice League tag on this song. So if it's not actually produced by Primo and that's wrong, you can blame Jay-Z, because I got this off a Beats and Rhymes playlist off Tidal. So if it's not, well, fuck Jay-Z, as Nas said once. Number 12, I have Beat Breaks. This song was dropped off the Hip Hop 50 tape that came out, I believe, in 2022, might have been 2023. But it's Primo and Nas on the cut, and it's a pretty decent song. It's based off the whole Smooth Criminal on Beat Breaks line from back in the day, back in the classics, and the switch ups in the beat don't really do much for me. If you guys wondering what I'm looking at, I just have notes down here for each of the songs in the order because it was hard to remember the order. But the switch ups don't do too much for me. Nas is good on the song, but he doesn't really say anything impactful. If anything, I believe that the song kind of lacks anything great. It's just that doesn't really match up to the other ones, to be honest. And then this last one, I would consider to be the last, like, not really just Nas and Primo. They have other people on the song. Or it's, who cares, honestly? It's Turn Up the Mic. I accidentally wrote Turn On, but we're not gonna, bother correcting it right now. Bumpy Knuckles is the feature on this song, and his verse, in my opinion, actually outshines Nas. Nas doesn't really say too much on here. It's just a classic verse. There's a classic beat sound, Primo sample. It's a better beat than the other 3 songs for sure. If you guys really care for the Primo classic production with the samples on it, I definitely recommend that you check out Turn Up the Mic. And if any of these are the wrong versions as well, you can blame Jay-Z, because I got this off his thing. So if there is a different version of this song or Regeneration that I might like more, please send it to me. Leave it in the comments below. But now moving on to the top 10, and this is, in my opinion, the definitive Nas songs. And this one's a little bit fresh. You can definitely tell I have no recency bias. To Find My Name, I have at number 10. And the reason I have it at number 10 is because Nas and Primo's catalog is just, It is immaculate. Like, there's no misses from here on out. All the songs from here on out are great songs, and I highly recommend you check all of them out, including Define My Name. I think it's good. But in comparison to the other Preemo beats, you can tell it's just a little bit underwhelming. Nas's flow isn't anything crazy. It doesn't sound too hungry. You can tell Nas is just kind of coasting on the beat. And I understand why people would maybe think it's a disappointment in comparison to the other tracks. And that's why I have it at number 10. At number 9, from Nostradamus, Come Get Me. And the main thing I'll say about this song is that Nas sounds hungry on this song. There's possible disses at Jay-Z that you can interpret on here too, where he drops lines about how a girl is feeling some other rapper's style, but you copied it mine, you copy and fuck, I believe Nas says. It's a good song. The main thing that drags it down, that puts it at number 9 for me, because like I said, Nas sounds really hungry on it, and it's a confident song, and the beat is a classic Preemo beat. Great samples on it. It's fast. It's aggressive. It's one of Premo's best beats on the whole list for me, maybe besides some of the absolute classics at number 1 through 3 that I'm sure you guys know are going to be up there. But there's an outro where Nas talks about a product, and this is going to sound weird if you haven't heard the song, called Hydro Drops. And I believe basically what Hydro Drops is, coming from a smoker. I'm going to turn that on for later. But coming from a smoker, I believe the product is, you put it in, you eat it. It's like a pill. And it gets you high so you don't have to smoke and smell like weed. And there's like a 2-minute commercial at the end for this, which is pretty funny and amusing. But after you hear it the first time, you don't really want to sit through it a bunch of times. So that's why I have it here, because ultimately I do have to take the full songs into account. Moving on to number 8. From the Magic Tape, back in 2021. We have Wave Gods featuring A$AP Rocky, collab produced with Hit Boy. So this one is a Hit Boy DJ Premier combined produced song. And it's a great song. Rocky flows really good on the start. The chorus is hard as hell. We more solid than they are. Me and Hit, we like the new gang star. It's a solid ass chorus from Nas, catchy flows. It's just that the rest of their catalog really is that good. So that, like, when people were to criticize Hit Boy in this song in comparison to some of the other songs, they're right. It's not Preemo at his best. It's not Preemo at his full potential. But to hate on anything 10 and below would be, I don't see it. Even Define My Name is a good song, even if it doesn't live up to the standards. But moving on, at number 7, and this might be the first time I get a controversial pick in here, I have New York State of Mind Part 2. We'll put New York State 2, because like I said, my writing's big and I'm out of room. The reason I have New York State of Mind number 2 this low, it's a great song. It does a lot of what the first New York State of Mind, which is later on this list, also Preemo produced, so we won't touch too much on it, but it puts you in New York, does great job painting visuals. It, you know, of course it's good. It's part 2 to probably the greatest rap song of all time. If not, that might be spoilers for the list later on, but who cares? There's a really good flow on the song that Nas has where he talks about how he had 8 friends and then it was 7, and then how friends snitch or get locked up or things happen to them, and then at the end of it he goes, it's just me and 2 of my best friends. And that really stuck with me because for a long time it was me and my 2 best friends just riding, right? So it's a great song, but because New York State of Mind did what it did, but so much better than part 2, I have it this low. Not to mention we got some real classics coming up, like number 6, Second Childhood. All right, Second Childhood is off Stillmatic back in 2001, and any Stillmatic song, including this one, sorry about that, Nas just has a ferocious flow. Everything he says sounds hungry, and this, in my opinion, might be my favorite Preemo beat on the whole thing. It has the Nas sample. Somebody told me that in the comments. I went back and revisited this when I was doing this video. That Define My Name uses. It has the same sample, which is also the same sample from Nas's Like. I believe that's where it's originally from. And it's an amazing beat. It's super stringy, super played out. Nas glazes over it, man. He absolutely fucking floats over that beat. And the way he words it, there's a line where he says, as a music dude, he mastered this Rubik's Cube, and I just imagine Nas like flowing the pieces perfectly like a Rubik's Cube when this song comes on. Tells a bunch of different stories throughout the verses about different people, about how they basically fuck up in life, to put it bluntly, and how they're in their second childhood making mistakes. And yeah, it's just a great song. Like I said, if you guys are watching this video, I'm sure you've heard all these, but if you guys want to listen to some classic Nas, I highly recommend you check out this column especially. Some great music here. Moving on to number 5, we have our first of 3 songs from Illmatic. All the songs from Illmatic made it into the top 5. And this one, we have Memory Lane, aka Sitting in the Park. And what Memory Lane does so well, sorry, the whiteboard really doesn't want to go. I really got to get a stand for this fucking thing, I know. But what Memory Lane does so well is it really puts you in the park. You imagine walking around with Nas and everything, with the basketball, going to the courts, you know, doing everything with them. And it does a great job painting visuals. There's an interview Nas has about It Was Written. And I know this might sound off topic, but it relates to this song, where he talks about how he wanted to expand the sound so where people outside of QB would enjoy it. Well, I enjoyed being in QB, hearing the stories from Nas, honestly. So It Was Written's a great album, but maybe we needed just a little bit more of this in QB talk, right? So in the song, he makes up words, dude. The flow is absolutely perfect. Everything retardedly bop. I dropped the Ancient Manifesto of hip hop. Fiends scream. There's other lines deep in it where he says Fiends scream about the Supreme Team, talking about all the different realms in New York, a Jamaica Queens thing, different boroughs and everything, and it just does a great job painting you in the picture. Number 4. Now, if you guys disagree with any of these picks, just remember that this is my opinion. But at number 4, I have I Gave You Power from It Was Written. Now, this song is one of the, if not the best storytelling songs in hip-hop. If you guys don't know about the song, I'm not going to speak too much on it because I'm sure you know everything about it. But Nas puts you in the perspective of him being a gun and talks about how him as a gun doesn't want to shoot. He does such a good job painting these visuals when he talks about the song. Basically, I don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't heard it, but I assume you all heard it. But if you haven't, just skip ahead. Nas basically builds up to this point of a shooting, and the way it builds up to it, and especially that third verse, does such a good job painting visuals. Even the tech on a shelf next to a grenade in the 9 and everything that Nas says just is so perfect. The back to Preemo's beat, it just sits in the back almost. It comes in real eerie, and it just does a good job of being cinematic, being there but not being there. And it's just, at this point, we're at perfect songs. All right, so moving on to number 3. And I might get a little bit of hate for this, because a lot of people might consider this to be Nas's best song. I have Nas's Like at number 3 on my list of all these songs. Nas's Like is perfect. The way I imagine it is like, if you ever seen one of those dudes doing parkour on the fucking jungle gyms with all the bars and they're just flowing through everything perfectly, making jumps, that's Nas on this beat. He uses this beat like a fucking jungle gym. Everybody knows the opening lines of fucking Nas's Like, where he drops the damn, I'm actually blanking. I have to refer to my notes. I'm sorry, I might be smoking too much. But a baby's being born the same time a man is murdered, the beginning and end. As far as rap go, it's only natural. I explain my plateau and also what defines my name. First it was nasty, just, you know, going on this amazing flow and everything about it. The beat is almost like a masterclass on how to make a beat, as if the rap is a masterclass in how to rap. And it is one of the most perfect hip-hop songs of all time from 1999's I Am. Number 2, from Illmatic, Represent. Now, this is where my definite bias comes in, because I could definitely see why you can argue Nas is like I Gave You Power. Memory Lane, even to an extent, Second Child, could be better than Represent. But for me, this song is just fucking hard, man. This shit's just a banger. This comes on and I get hyped up. I just imagine, you know, Nas coasting around with all the boys, all the everything, just, you know, running around New York. Does a great job painting the visual. In my opinion, is probably my favorite beat. Super repetitive, almost sounds like bells going off, and has a ton of different sounds and flows. One of the most notable lines being, God's, I don't believe in none of that shit. The facts is backwards. One of the hardest lines in hip hop. No matter what you believe, you gotta tell me, or you can't not tell me that shit's hard. And at number 1, I feel like everyone knows is coming. New York State of Mind. Whoops. New York State of Mind. Sorry for my shitty writing, all right? But New York State of Mind might just be the best hip-hop song of all time, and it is definitely the greatest Nas and DJ Premier song that they've made. If you disagree, most likely I think you're wrong, and I think most of everybody thinks you're wrong. You're just wrong. New York State of Mind, the way it builds up, the intro to Illmatic, even with Genesis, it puts you right in New York. The way the beat sounds is almost like sirens going off, and then Nas starts the fucking flow, and it's just absolutely perfect. Which eventually builds up to the point where Nas drops the most infinite line in hip-hop. I never sleep, because sleep is the cousin of death. And usually I know all the starting words to New York State of Mind. If you watch my Illmatic review, I rap it off the top of my head. But I'm blanking on fucking lyrics right now, and it makes me look so bad, and I hate that shit. Because I got an Illmatic fucking poster up there. I got a CD in the goddamn closet over there. And it is the greatest song of all time. I don't want this video to be a million years long, so I am going to wrap it up pretty soon. But if you guys enjoyed today's video, please leave it in the comments below. Let me know what your ranking would be of these songs and what you would change from my ranking. Let me know how I'm wrong. And I will see you all in the next video. Peace out. Let's go with the new Nas and Preemo album also. I might do an update to this after, but peace out again.